All right, let's do some more blood pythons. Once again, we're looking at very, very simplistic setups. These are in older freedom breeders, and I'm pretty excited because I'm going to be getting some new freedom breeders for my blood pythons. Here we're looking at a really nice little ivory blood. And an ivory blood is the full expression of the matrix. So the matrix would be an incomplete dominant. So we have the subtle side effects of the matrix, but the pure form, which is this, the super expression of the gene, it's showing its completeness. Now here's the snake that's we have a hide box. We have a big water dish where they can soak in. We're keeping it on paper. And sometimes you can feel like this is more recently cleaned, but sometimes with the proper humidity, you can feel the paper. It almost feels a little bit, just a little bit moist. But once again, ventilation is key. Here's an animal like this that is positioned out in the open. So this animal is, I'm moving around in the room. So there's a really good chance that this animal is telling me that it's hungry. So if I go to the next cage, I'd probably see what this animal's doing. Okay. This is a golden eye. So this is what, when you breed together, they make the magpie. So this animal is on point. This animal's out forward. This animal wants to eat. So normally, if I offered a defrosted rat or something like that, that animal might go for it. So there's another golden eye. We'll put that one away. And this animal is maybe not so much on point, where it also could be a shyer animal too. I definitely know that that male I was just looking at wants to eat. So let's say, push. Okay, here's a little golden eye. This animal right here, you can definitely tell wants to eat. It's basically staring at me. It smells any kind of rodent in the area. So the animal's out during the day, it's actively looking. Once again, we're looking at very simple setups. Let's take a look at this. All right, so this animal is not using its hide box. Maybe this one is. Okay, here we go. We got one using its hide box. Okay, so that animal, this is a pixel. So this is a golden eye with a batik, and a very genetically powerful animal. So this animal's just a little bit nervous. I just woke it up. I mean, you got to remember, these animals, when we're invading their lives, we're doing stuff to them, and we can't be surprised if the animal were to, get a little bit uppity or whatever, because, I'm just being very unceremonious about how I approached the animal. I just kind of lifted off its hide shelter and took it out, and now the animal has to tolerate me. But this animal's being good. Long tongue flicks, really, really pretty animal. How's that for an awesome animal? So, but once again, very, very simple setups. I mean, freedom breeder it's literally, that's the industry standard. It's like, if you have any money to improve the way you're taking care of your animals, there's a little pixel. It's spending it on nice rack systems is really enjoyable. This is like I said, this is an older rack, but I'm going to be getting some of the newer ones, and I'm really excited about that. So what can I tell you about blood pythons? Blood pythons really make good use of any kind of meals that are fed to them. So it's very easy to make these guys obese by overfeeding, even though they want to eat frequently. If we look at an adult and we just kept on feeding an adult, let's say like we're treating like it was a reticulated python or a Burmese python, the animal will get to a certain size, and then what they do is they start getting obese, and that becomes problematic for blood pythons. We don't succeed in accomplish what we want to do with them. So it's really good to sometimes feed them and then sometimes wait a week, 10 days before their next meal. A little bit goes a long way with blood pythons, and you want to not make the simple mistakes, and myself included. I can easily the thing wants to eat, and you just start feeding them, and then before long you have this obese animal, and that animal ultimately is never going to be in that state is going to be good for breeding. So we want to use a little bit of logic. So here's an animal that appreciates humidity, doesn't like to be too hot. these guys, you know, really seem to like to be in the 80s, so like an ambient temperature 82 is I think is rather ideal. With a hot spot, that might bring them up to about 92. Humidity, but ventilation. They do like to immerse their bodies in water. They do like to hide. A cage. Now, if I make this cage too big and I create too much room for this animal, the animal sometimes will become uncomfortable and you could have feeding problems. I think these guys ultimately love to jam themselves into smaller spaces. So here I'm just giving, you know, this little hide box, which works excellent. It gives the animal security, and we need to realize one thing. When we're dealing with these animals, they are a little bit high strung, so that means that they're actually very alert and intuitive of what's going on around them. So if we don't provide the basics where they feel secure and they feel that they can be cryptic, we may have feeding issues, may end up having health issues, because everything can be, you know, ramped up to, if I stress the animal out continuously, I ultimately am going to see that generally as a respiratory infection, stuck sheds, failure to eat, enteritis, and different stuff like that. And those are all symptoms often of husbandry, you know, misconceptions or failures. So we got to get our basic husbandry down, and these animals really do appreciate basic, simplistic environments, but with all the points met. All right, so I'll end this video, but people, you know, get a little confused by the name blood pythons. That does not mean that they make you bloody. I find blood pythons can be quite tractable, and you earn the respect of the animal. So when they're little babies, they may be a little bit defensive, which in turn basically means they might be a little bit nippy. But as you actually work with them and you do certain things, I did the first video, I went over some of the handling, and as you do that, every interaction with this animal is a step to basically engaging the animal and establishing trust. So remember, they're not coffee mugs. These are living animals that are rather intelligent. Say goodbye.